Yeah, why did you feel that happened at the time? Because they did have space to move the ball in the build-up. Of course, it was a good finish from Wissa, but they did have time to move the ball.
Well, we don't defend the space next to the taker well enough, and we allow the runner inside the box, and after that is a lottery. The delivery is good. We just throw back in the line, which we should never do, but that's how we concede.
It would be a kind of human nature to drop a little bit the levels of energy and performance after midweek, but how did you feel in terms of the attitude today?
No, I mean, with the attitude or energy, you see the team that at the end we have to play with 10 men because Jorginho cannot continue, and the team plays forward and starts to attack, and he wants to have, and we have two big opportunities to score the goal. He cannot certainly about energy. We are ready. Always, we play every 3 days. We are so used to it, so that's not an excuse.
I saw you were very frustrated with the challenge from Norgard to Martinelli. So how did you feel there?
Yeah, I think my reaction tells everything.
A red card?
My reaction tells everything.
Does it make it even more frustrating that during the season you were on the other end of some questionable red cards?
Yeah, you've been very gentle with that word.
I'm trying. Well, Partey's goal. A great finish, but also a really good reaction from Raya, who saw quickly the space and built that break.
Yeah, great. It's one of the things against them. They commit a lot of players in the box in every set piece, so it's an opportunity in open spaces to hurt them, and the action was really, really good.
And finally now, Madrid, you've been through a lot with this squad, with this group of players. So how do you see them in terms of all the progress you made throughout the years to take up a challenge, manage this scoreline that you got here and go to the Bernabeu?
Yeah, now it's time to recover well, and tomorrow we start to prepare the most beautiful game of the season.
Thank you. Who knows what happens after that. He was not happy, was he? He was pretty frustrated. He's frustrated with dropping points from the leading position again, and he's also frustrated about that challenge on Martinelli, which he felt was punishable by a red card. Steve had his say at half-time. Jamie, what's your take on this?
Well, very rarely do you see a red card for this. Look, it's not a great tackle. It's actually a tackle that can hurt people because you can see it's a twisting motion on Martinelli's knee. But if he would have given him a red card there, we would say, well, okay, every time that happens, it's a red. It is a yellow.
But what if he was injured in the challenge?
It's not a great tackle, I'm saying, but it is a real risk. I've seen plenty of. I actually had a bad injury from someone doing a very similar tackle like that to me, and it can happen because you get your leg caught under it and it twists your knee. He's obviously lucky it doesn't happen in this situation, but I don't feel, because of the rules and everything, that normally is never a red card. So we can't start asking for them now. You know, Mikel Arteta should be more frustrated that his team didn't win the game than that. You know, and a lot of the time it always feels like, oh, it's a conspiracy against him and his team. It isn't. You know, some of the decisions that have been made, I feel, have been red cards, and others, you know, that's sometimes the way it goes. And at the moment, he probably feels that we're on the, you know, things aren't quite going our way. I think he should be really looking at the performances this season. That's why they're 10 points behind Liverpool.
Do you agree with? They find this guy. He becomes the sort of understudy to Ivan Toney, as he was explaining to us, and then he gets his opportunity. My goodness me, he's taken it.
Absolutely, because it felt. For a long time, he was always the player that would come on as an impact sub, if you like, and nobody likes to have that sort of label. But once Ivan Toney left, you did feel or worry a little bit for what would happen for Brentford after that, because when you've got a player, and it's such a talisman, such a leader. You know, when you spoke about Brentford, you spoke about Ivan Toney. Once he left, it's been almost seamless. And then you've seen like Brian and Burmo, and then you've seen Wissa, and you've seen other players, and they've seemed to have flourished in this role. And he's certainly one of them. And it's some of the goals that he's scored and the improvisation for that finish. And
well, let's see.
And you can, yeah. Well, it was certainly a ploy because. You know, should we go straight to his goal?
Let's do that first.
It was a really smart finish. I think that was you used a clever finish, smart finish, and you can see what Brentford obviously do. Brentford and Arsenal are two best at set pieces and keeping the ball alive, and this is what they do extremely well. And Burmo takes this one. Arsenal obviously clear the lines to start with, and then once it goes back out, you can see then that Arsenal have got all their players back, but Brentford, I would say, have got a nice situation, just developing that back post. Nathan Collins is the person. He's got himself, I think that's Saliba, yes, at the back post. Burmo does ever so well. Coyote's come on as a sub, who was really good. He came on, he showed a load of enthusiasm and getting into good positions. He's going to make a really smart overlap pass around Brian and Burmo here. And once he takes that first touch, now you're looking to stand it up to the back post. And as I mentioned before, there's Nathan Collins in that area. And Visser has got himself into what I would call a lovely position just between the whips of the post. As that ball gets stood up, Nathan Collins does so well to get above Saliba, just nods it back. He just rotates his body and then manages to just improvise beautifully and get that sort of what I would call a hooked finish. It's a really clever goal, isn't it?
Sort of able to protect the ball from the defender as well in that same instance.
Well, what's key about this is he knows his surroundings the whole time. You can see him in the middle of the pitch here.
It's a little dink, by the way, isn't it?
It's a great little dink, yeah. As soon as he goes in there, he's not worried about getting, even the way that he takes it, where as the ball's bouncing up as well. He's not looking for power. He's just looking. He knows he's so close to the goal. He's inside the 6-yard box. Any good contact on that's going to go goal bound. And he's got a good purchase. He's got a hell of a chance of getting
brilliant
back on the net.
Header as well.
Superb.
Because he's got it almost on the corner of his head. You know, it's one of those, can I just get it back into the danger area? And then he hooks it.
He takes it early, doesn't he? He doesn't wait for it to come down. He takes it as it's going up. It's a great finish. And that all comes down, as I said, from the whereabouts. You know exactly his pitch geography, where he is.
Yeah.
But Brentford corners don't always go their way.
No, but they set up in a certain way. I think back to early in the season, I think it was their first away game against Liverpool, where what they tried to do is almost sort of ring fence the box. Arsenal bring everybody back, as we can see here, and then they've got two players, Keane Lewis-Potter and that's Jan out there. And what they will try to do, Arsenal, because there's absolutely no doubt in my mind, they were trying to spring attacks all the time. As soon as they won the ball, when they got the ball into Raya's hands, how quickly can we break? So this wasn't the goal. This was a couple. We've got 3 or 4 of these examples. Brentford play it short, they get the ball into the box. And now, as soon as that ball goes into Raya's hands, I just want to slow it up a little bit. Hold on one second. He is now going to, as quickly as he can, try and throw it. This time, you can see, obviously, Declan Rice is in there. They're trying to block him to stop him because they know that can be a counter-attack. There's Declan Rice, who's going to try and get on the end of this one. You've got Martinelli and Waneri as well down that side. Doesn't quite work, but it was definitely a plan. There's 3 or 4 examples of this, but every time Brentford had a set piece, then they tried to play in that area, Arsenal were looking to exploit that. Let's go now to the goal.
So Arsenal know they're vulnerable, and Brentford know they're vulnerable as well.
Absolutely. This time they're even further up the pitch. Now there's Norgard. I can't remember who that would have been. Anyway, I can't see him on this side here, but we're going to see him as it evolves. The ball goes into Raya's hands. Oh, that's it. It's Keane Lewis-Potter. Now it's like the red arrows. You can see it. So that's going to be Martinelli. There's the goal scorer. Declan Rice, I think. Where is Declan? I think Declan.
It's like the starting pistol, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It.
And they're going to see. Watch Brentford. They're going to try and stop this counter-attack.
Just before you go on, Joe, what's great about this is that some of them, and we've seen it before, that some cheat before it's secure. Joe, especially from a striker or an attacker point of view, when that ball goes over the head, they're expecting a keeper to claim it. They're off already. They're waiting to know that it's safe, and then they go.
Look at the pace they go at. See, Declan Rice, obviously that's Damsgaard makes a big mistake. He tries to win the ball. And Johan Visser mentioned to us, I tried to get back to help my team. We just can't get back quickly enough. There's 8 players that get back. But that just shows you the intensity. Now I want to just talk about Damsgaard because I sort of feel his pain a bit here. I'm just going to just take that back just a little bit. Now, he has 2 decisions to make. One, which he should have done, is does he run back with Martinelli? Or does he go and try to get onto Declan Rice? It's brilliant by the goalkeeper. It's almost like just temping bowling, bowls it out to Declan, and then you can see, obviously, there's Thomas Partey. But Damsgaard puts the brakes on and tries to go and get the ball. And Declan is exactly what Declan Rice wants because he knows he can just manipulate the ball past him. There he goes. He gets it. Now it's too late. And now you've got a 3v2.
Especially given his running power as well.
Yeah, that's where he's got all the power. What I love with Deck towards the end of that, he has a glance. We see it more probably in this view here.
Is a nice one.
And it's a really good first touch, isn't it?
Yeah. The touch takes Damsgaard. I was saying, if I was Damsgaard, could I have? Because if it was me, I'd just try and bear hug him and take him down. What I love this is that he's had one glance there. He hasn't looked again at all. He knows that pass is on the whole time, and if the weight of pass is right, he's got a one-touch finish.
We've measured this at approximately, I have to say, 55 metres that he carries the ball for. Mickey van der Ven carried the ball for an assist for 56 metres at the start of this season.
United.
Yes.
So I think what Declan does really well is once he knows he's got a situation arising, so as Visser comes to him, he has to take that ball inside just to take Johan Visser off that line, and then he can play it with his right foot, with the outside of the right foot perfectly. Because, again, Johan has two decisions to make. Does he go to the ball or does he stay with Thomas Partey? Whatever he did, he was damned if he did, damned if he didn't. But a really good piece of play, great counter-attack, and you thought at that point Arsenal will probably go on and win the game. But like Steve said, not with this Brentford side, they just don't give up.
But it just shows in terms of Declan Rice how unique he is as a midfield player when he can strike those free kicks like he can, but also that side of the game.
I think he's near enough a complete midfield player. His passing ability, short and long, is great with both feet. His positioning out of possession, the stuff that he does, where he cuts passes off, and then when he's got the ball, the quality he's got as well, and then his engine. I think they call him the horse. Maybe I think his teammates call him the horse, and he's got that. He's got that look of the drive and the quality of passes as well. To get the next step up to the next level, he's got to get more assists and more goals, and he's definitely more capable after that.
Another assist.
I'm going to be interested to see what happens with him next season, because Thomas Partey, I think, is coming to the end of his contract. I don't think he looks like whether he's going to sign another year. Do they maybe bring Declan Rice into a number 6 position? I think if you asked him, I don't know. I think he would rather play there. I think he's got two attributes.
There's been talk about Zubimendi as well, potentially.
Possibly, and they've got obviously a lot of great players in that midfield position. It might be an area where that feels like a simple one. If you bring in Zubimendi, obviously he's a super talent as well. But it does fit. When he first arrived here, it felt like they bought him as a defensive midfield player. But Mikel Arteta has found himself playing obviously further forward. He's getting assists and goals. But I personally, I just feel it seems to suit him playing deeper. But right now, he's in a great moment, scoring goals and assisting.
We wondered if Bukayo Saka would be kept in cotton wool on the bench or unleashed on this game to try and win it for Arsenal, and that was certainly the case. And might you have had a goal, Steve?
Yeah, I mean I think. The touch isn't great from Flecken, is it? It gives him a chance.
Why you think he doesn't shoot when he after that first touch?
I don't know whether he's just come on. He's a little bit cold. Saka in form there whips it straight away. Whether he's just had to get going into the game, but an in form Saka that we know he is. He's always obviously been out for a long time. Scored on his comeback game against Fulham, but when he's firing, he fires that one in the near post, no problems.
Coyote did well to get back, didn't he? He showed great speed to get back and help the goalkeeper, because, like Steve said, it wasn't the best touch you've ever seen.
Yeah, Bukayo Saka with a chance to take that beyond Brentford. It wasn't to be. There are going to be twists and turns, by the way.